Alrighty, so welcome back. So I've been playing around with the gooseberries. Yes, I've been playing around with them. I did red ones, orange ones, yellow ones, green ones. I did spiky ones, not spiky ones. And I came up with a color palette that I hope you guys like. I was happy with it, but because of the way Ellie did the line art, I tried to work within the line art to get a good color palette and a good variation of colors. So these are the colors I picked for the gooseberry. I hope you guys like it. And again, this is just my choice, so you guys can pick whatever colors you like. Let me zoom in here for you. So starting with the berry, I picked 912, 913, 1011, 1096, 1034. And on some of the berries, I'm going to do a special effect with a little bit of pink or red with 994. It's just going to give a little bit of color as the berries are ripening. So I'm just going to provide a little bit of a pinkish red effect to them because I saw on some of the berries when I was looking at them, there's so many different variations of the gooseberries. The Cape gooseberry, for example, are more of a golden orange berry, and then some of the green berries have a bright lime green, and then some of your yellow or golden berries, they have like a reddish golden mix to them. They have a variation of greens and pinks and reds and yellows in them. And that's kind of the one I decided to go for, that have a variation of colors in them. So I kind of picked a happy middle with a lot of different colors. So I hope this kind of gives us all something to go for. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to get it right, but I've only done gooseberries one other time, and I went with an orange one. So this is something new for me. Yikes. Let's see if my skills pay off here, okay? We're really going to put mine to the test here for sure. All right, let's go over those colors again. 912, 913, 1011, 1096, 1034, and 994. Eventually, we will use the black gel pen or black pencil or black Posca, whatever you have will work. Okay, I'll push this aside. And here is my summer berries page. I'm going to actually turn it around. Nope, I'm going to work from this side because I'm right-handed. So I'm going to angle my page here. And I think we'll start with these upper ones. And what I'm actually going to do is something just a little different. So, hopefully I can remember how I laid these colors down. Okay, we're going to start with 912, which is the apple green. And using a light touch, I'm going to kind of just do a light layer of some of the green here. I'm not going to go over the whole berry. I'm just going to put some green where I want it to start. I'm just trying to get a feel of where I want to put some of this apple green color. And I'm going to kind of just lay this green in at an angle, I think. Almost through the center. Maybe just a little up here around that leaf. And again, I'm just using a light touch because I'm going to build up some layers here. And you can see there's some little fine hairs. And I'll talk about that when we do some finishing details. Well, not some final details, but as I'm finishing up on this actual berry itself, I'll go over if you want to put some touches on those little hairs. I'll leave that up to you if you want to do that or not. Okay, so I've got a little light layer of that 912 laid in. So I'm just kind of looking at it thinking, okay, that's good for now, for right now. Now I'm going to take my 913, which is my next brightest green, which is your spring green, and I'm going to kind of just go over that a little bit. It's going to give it more of a bright green pop to it. And again, I'm still using a light touch, and I'm bringing it out just a little bit more into the white area, but I'm still going over what I already laid in. I'm just repeating it. So again, you've probably noticed my technique is to build up my layers and repeat my methods. And that way, as I'm moving my color around, I get to eyeball and see where I want my colors brighter or darker. And I can kind of self-adjust my colors as I'm going. So if I have not enough color in one area, I can add more, I can darken it up, but you can usually adjust your color, but it's easier to add more color than it is, again, to take it away. So now I'm gonna grab my yellow, which is the 1011, and where you have your areas of the white, I'm going to lay in the 1011. Again, a light touch. So this gives me an idea now of kind of a pattern, so to say, of what I'm looking at. So now that I see, okay, I'm looking at some lighter areas, some darker areas. Do I like this? Yes, no. I can work with this. Okay, now I still have two other colors I haven't put in yet. And those are more of a darker and a highlighting color. So I want to wait on those just a little bit. So now I'm going to go back to my first color, which is my 912. And I'm going to lay in some more of that 912 exactly where I want it now. Now that I can really see what I want. And this is just, again, my method. If you have a way of doing it, definitely use your method. But I just find it's easier to self-adjust this way and build your layers if you do them very gently and very lightly. And you can get a really nice blend going this way. Because, again, you're building your layers up and you'll get a better seamless blend, especially with the soft Prismacolors. Now, if you're working with a budget set of pencils, like maybe the Scholar set of Prismas or the Junior set, this is also an ideal way to work with those Junior or Scholar sets, is to use a very light touch and build your colors up. Same with polys. Polys are a little harder because they're what you would call a true oil pencil, because they're made with a vegetable oil blend. Okay, so 913 is your next one. So again, take your 913 and go over your 912, blending those two greens together because you want to really brighten up that green now. giving it kind of a lime green, but not like the standard lime green colored pencil that you would think, which is in the Prismacolor set. You're giving it that sharp, almost neon green look. And again, I'm just really lightly just blending those colors, staying within what I've already laid in. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to add some more to it. And I'm keeping with my same light touch because I don't want to burnish my page yet because I have more layers to go in. But your finished product is what you're after. And once you see your finished product come together, that's when you go, oh, wow, that's what I was after. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my 1011. And now you'll notice I'm going to hit the edge of that green with my 1011. I'm not going over the green. I'm just going to hit the edge of it as I'm working that yellow over to the white space. So I'm kind of grabbing a little bit of that green and I'm working it over into my white space. So what I'm doing is I'm making a seamless blend. So I'm going to blend that little bit of green so you don't see a sharp line. See how I did that there? So you don't see that really sharp line like if I drew a straight edge. And I'm going to do that everywhere I previously laid in that yellow. And now you can adjust this to how you like your yellow or where you want your yellow spots or lighter spots. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for starting out. Okay, now I'm going to grab my 1034, which is the kind of a golden color. And right where you see some of those little spots on this bookmark, I'm going to go over those little spots. What I'm doing is highlighting those little speckles. I'm going to give it a little bit of a orange or golden feel. And I'm going to bring it down towards the base here. And you'll notice I'm kind of blending that green and orange and yellow. I'm not getting too crazy with it. And then again, right here in the center, just a little bit right in the center with that orange. I think I'll put a little right up top here where that yellow, that light pale yellow I put up at the top by that leaf is. Just want to add a little bit. I don't want to add too much. Just want to add a little bit. Just like it's been out in the sun for a while. A little around the bottom here over that yellow, that golden appearance. Okay, now I'm going to come back in with my yellow. I'm just going to smooth out that little bit of that golden color I added. And now you're going to see that yellow starting to brighten up because you're adding that layer. I'm just smoothing out that golden color with the yellow, with that pale yellow. I'm not going over the green. I'm just going over the yellow bits and a little bit of that golden bit. Okay, now I'm going to grab my 913 and I'm going to go over that green again. This time, you're going to really see that green start to brighten up. Pay close attention to where you put that golden color because you don't want to overblend into that now. Try to keep uniform just with your green. You can see how it's starting to come together. And it may take some practice just to work around these colors, because I know it took me a while. I was fiddling with this and fiddling with this. I was like, I am never going to get this right. It's going to look a hot mess. Okay, now my 912 again, right at the bottom here. You should really start to feel your colors thickening up, so to say, where they're moving around a lot more. And notice I'm keeping my darkest greens around where like the shaded areas would be. So, let me get this little bit right here at the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to take my yellow one more time. And I'm going to go over the golden areas and the green. And I'm just going to give them a nice light blend with my yellow. A nice light even blend, so it gives it a nice seamless look, and it kind of mixes all the colors and mellows them out. I'm not using a heavy pressure though. I'm just making sure that my colors are evenly blended and that I don't have any really sharp lines. And trust me, this looks better in person than it's probably depicting on camera right now. Okay, now I'm going to take my 1096. And I'm going to hit these veins with the 1096. Now, I'm not going to go all the way through the yellow area. I'm just going to hit the green areas with the 1096. Just where it's the darkest is where I'm going to use that dark green. And right at the bottom here, in that corner. And over the little bit at the bottom and right up here at the top. It's just the right amount of green to give it a little bit of shading. Okay, now I'm going to take my 1034 and I'm going to hit that gold bit again. See how that gold's really starting to pop out now? Just over blending over that yellow and that green. You should get a nice golden green appearance, like a sun-kissed look. Okay, it's actually really simple, and I know it probably looks a little muddy on camera. Let me see if I can adjust my light here. I don't know. This light's so weird. Let me see if I can, is that better? I got one of those weird adjustable lights. It's got like 4 or 5 different daylight settings. Just really depends. I can see it better than my phone's showing that it's a different look. But anyways, so you could see, I can see it better than you could probably see it on the camera. But now with your gold, your 950, if you want to do this, you don't have to. Because when you do the background, the little hairs on the outside of the gooseberry might get hidden by the background when you do it. Again, the color that I chose for the background is probably going to hide some of those fine little hairs. But if you do want to apply some of those little hairs, get a nice sharp tip. And you can use your gold pencil, because when I was looking at pictures of the gooseberries, it looks like the little hairs are like a really pale brown, almost a golden color. So you could just put little ticks of your gold over those fine little hairs on your gooseberry. That's what I thought was the best. I tried bronze and I tried different browns, but it just didn't look as good as the gold. I thought the gold did the best job of really highlighting those little hairs. And if you get a nice sharp point on your gold pencil, it will give it just a little pop of shimmer too. Okay, so I mean, that's totally up to you if you want to do that. And again, if you want to make those vein lines bold, you can do that as well. I just choose not to because you can see the black lines pretty well. So I just chose to highlight the darkest area of the vein lines with the dark green. And I thought that was enough. Because when I look at the pictures of the gooseberries, when they're a more of a yellow golden or a super lime green, the vein lines are like a chartreuse or a white or a yellow. So they're more of the color of the flesh on the berry themselves if they have a vein line in them. Otherwise, they're a solid color. So you could always do your berry one solid color as well, unless you have a Cape berry, which the Cape berries have an outer casing, almost like a tomatillo. They're very different. So let's do another one with a little bit of different, and then we're going to throw a little bit of a pink in there. So let's do one of those. And again, we're going to start with our 912. And let's do the one right next to it. How about that? Just to give it a little contrast. So let's do this one a little different. Let's start, we'll start at the bottom here with the 912. We'll do the 912. We'll do this a little bit different. Some 912 in here, kind of come up the sides with it. And I'll get up underneath that leaf. Because that was the other thing I noticed. When the berries have different colors on the plants, no two berry is really the same. Especially when they're like the gold and red and they have all different colors on the berries. The gooseberry is it's a very neat, it's a bush or a tree, I think. It was very cool. I found out a lot of neat stuff. I've colored a lot of currants, like red currants, black currants, but not too much on the gooseberries. I sure learned something. Okay, so I think that's good for that. I'm going to do my 912. Of course, the darker, I'm just going to go around the leaves because I think that's best for the shadowing. Anywhere something's touching you can almost bet that's going to be a shaded area. I always think of I try to think of where my light's going to hit. But that leaf is overhanging, so it's kind of blocking some of the light on this one. So I think my light's going to be more center on this guy. So we'll just put a little bit. And I'll put a little down the center here, I think. Bring some up right here, huh? Yeah. Do this one a little different. Now for my yellow. Remember, just keep it light because we're just laying in the yellow. It's kind of a temporary. I know some people who like to just really go for it. I like to lay my colors in because I like to self-adjust before I go full bore. Because I tend to make mistakes and then I'm not happy with my color palette. So I want to know beforehand if I need to adjust lighter or darker. And it always helps if I can see, should I go darker here? Should I add more color here? It kind of helps me to remember to adjust my colors as I go. I think I want to go back to my 913 here. Add just a little more. Yep. Sometimes it's hard when you're just trying to figure out how you want to do something. And you know, it's trial and error, especially for me right now. So this one could turn out really heinous. You never know. I could really make a video that is horrific. And I'm still going to post it, even if it comes out bad. Because that's how I am. I'm not always good at everything. God forbid. Who is? I'm not perfect. Okay, let's grab the 912. Let's put some darker green up here with my apple. See what I got here. Get some of this shading green in here. It's this deeper color. You guys ever watch that series on Netflix, Vikings? It's an interesting show. I was kind of getting into that. I always try to find things to watch that, like, series of, you know, that have more than one episode. That keeps me interested anyway. Otherwise, I lose interest really quick if it's boring. I'm going to bring this down a little bit, I think, over the edge. I think I need some more green over here. Okay, now I think I'm going to grab my 1034. I think I want to put some gold in here. I do. I think it needs a little gold. This golden color. We are going to put some red in here, but I think it needs a little something. Because this is a big gooseberry. So I think I need to add just a little something. Yeah. I think that's working. Yep. Now I'm going to grab my yellow, which is the 1011, sorry. I'm going to blend those again. because I initially had some yellow here. That's working a little bit better now. Okay. Because I want to put some of that pink in here. It just was not working for what I wanted it to do. All right, now I'm grabbing the edge of that green like I did before, and I'm bringing that yellow in. And everywhere I had put that yellow in before, I'm going over, but I'm still grabbing the edge of that green because I want that seamless blend. But keeping with how I had it before. And again, this is a pretty easy blend. I didn't go over the top here with this. I think I kept this one rather simple. Okay, now back to my 912. I'm going to have to rotate my page here. Apologies. I'm going to come back in at the bottom here with that darker green, because I can see I need to put some on the edge here and up around this leaf. And you can see I'm following that vein just a little bit where I want that green line. But again, I'm not dragging it through the center because I believe that center is where the light is hitting. So I want to keep that my light point. But I am going to get a little more right at the base. And I am going to bring in some more of that other green as well. The 994, the process red, that'll be one of the last colors I bring in. Just so you know when I'm going to add that in. And that is the color that we're going to use for the pinkish red effect. If it goes as planned, it will go on well. Okay, now I'm going to bring this green in just a little bit. Now I'm going to grab the 913 again, that spring green. And I'm going to go over my green that I just had to brighten that up. And I'll add another layer of my yellow in there. So you see it's really starting to brighten up that green now. I'm trying to just drag that green up. Mixing those together. I don't want it too limey, but I want a seamless look to it. See if I can get that green going. It's almost a really bright green, which I like. I think the reason my light's so weird is because I'm not used to it's daytime. It's usually nighttime when I'm doing my videos, and then I struggle with the shadow from the light, casting a shadow and from the hallway light. Okay, now I'm going to grab that 1011. And I'm going to blend my green and my yellow with that little bit of golden I put in there. Keeping in mind where I put the yellow before. But I'm still kind of blending with my green a little bit, because I still want that seamless blend. Notice I'm not going all the way up into my green though. I'm just grabbing the edge of it. But I'm keeping that light. Okay, and right here on the edge of this. Almost feels like there was something on my paper right there. I know Gretel was on it the other night. She put her little scratch marks all over it. It's like she was making biscuits on it or something. Okay. Now I'm going to take my 1096 And I'm going to add those dark lines in here, only on the areas where I want the dark lines. I'm not going to go all the way through it because, again, I want the light areas, the line breaks where the light's hitting it, to stay light. So I don't want to break that. And right in here where that leaf is covering, I can put a little bit of that darker green. You can use that as your shading. You can also use browns, and you can bring your golden color in if you like and put a little more of that. You can definitely bring it in over your green. It gives it a different effect. It'll just darken up that green and almost, you'll see here as soon as I move my hand. So you can see now how it's blending that golden and that green. You get that sun effect. Okay, kind of cool. Okay, now with the processed red, I want you to take a very light hand, and I want you to remember, so you've got a really light yellow and you've got a green. So you've got some really pale colors. You don't want to press really hard. You want to start with a light touch. Now, because you've worked your paper a lot with a bunch of different layers, all you're going to want to do is, you got to remember where your dark, your shade, and your sun are. So where the sun is hitting most is going to be the riper part of your berry. So for example, where the golden color is that you laid in, that's probably going to be one of the riper areas of your berry. So you're going to go ahead and start laying in just a little bit of the pink over that golden part that you put. See how it just goes on really gently right over that golden area? Even though it's a lighter area, I'm just using a real subtle touch. And it should lay in beautifully because you left just enough with that golden color and that light yellow. And just bring it out. If you go too heavy, it's going to look really muddled. And don't worry if it's not blended real good. It will blend. But a light touch is key. Small circles, light touch. If it looks like it's not going to blend real good, just grab your yellow and work your pink and your yellow together, just like I am here, see? I'm working it with that yellow and that golden color that was already in there. I'm working my colors together because I'm going over top what I've already blended in. So it's given it just a nice subtle color, and it's just changing it just ever so slightly. So it's giving it just kind of a ripening effect. I'm not changing the overall appearance. I'm just giving it just a little halfway between green and red and orange. So there you have it. That's all there is to it. It's so simple. This is the other berries I did were more complicated than this. This was actually one of the more easy blends. And I think when I was sitting down to do it, I was overcomplicating it. Now, again, if you want, you could take your gold still and you can do those little hairs. It's still going to work really good even with that pink. And you can see, even with that pink, all I did was just put those little ticks on there. And I just went over what Ellie already had there when she did the line art. So I just kind of followed her line art and just redid the little tick marks. And it looks beautiful. So again, when I'm done doing all the berries, and hold on here, I can zoom in a little bit so you can maybe get a better look at that red berry, or the green and red one. There you go. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better, the way I did that with the pink and the green and the yellow and the orange. And when you do these, just practice. It's not really that hard. And again, you can get these same effects with your scholars and your Verithins. It just takes practice, and it's all about technique. If you are heavy-handed, if you are getting hand cramps because you're holding your pencil like this, hold your pencil like this and do little circles like this. Teach yourself how to hold your pencil higher up. And I know it's kind of feels weird, but the more you learn how to relax your hand, the better your lightness and your layers will be. And you'll get more layers that way. You'll have less breaking on your tips, and you'll be happier. You won't get as frustrated with your Prismacolor pencils. I promise. Me, I hold my pencils low, but that's because I've learned my grip and my technique. I know how hard to push, and that's just years and years and years of using colored pencils. So it's really about you and how well you know yourself and how well you know your pressures and how to hold each colored pencil. And I've said it before a million times. Stick with one brand of colored pencil. It can take years to master. This is 912, by the way. It can take years to master one brand of colored pencil. So learning one specific brand of pencil is sometimes key instead of using multiple brands all the time. When you're first starting out, pick a brand that you like, that feels good to you, and stick with it. Learn color names, color numbers, and just stick with that brand until you have figured out the color names, the color blends. When you can remember your names, your pencil numbers, and favorite blends, etc., you're well on your way. I mean, it takes many years to master a set of colored pencils like that. And if you ask professional artists, I mean, I'm talking professional artists, they'll probably tell you they have one or two sets of pencils that are their favorite go-to sets. And they'll probably tell you honestly that it took them years to master one set of pencils where they know their color numbers and names and which colors blend well to make what colors. It does take a long time, and mixing up your colored pencils, not knowing, can just add a lot of confusion and can make your learning take a lot longer. It's easier to create muscle memory off one set than it is multiple sets. And that's because not all colored pencil brands have the same names and color numbers that correspond with each other. So it can get overwhelming. But it doesn't matter what brand you use. What matters is what brand you like. So no matter what anybody says, use what you like. I mean, even no matter what I say, use what you like. I like certain colored pencils, and I use Prismacolors in my videos, and I'm partial to them. But I also love my Derwents, my Chromaflows. I like my Polychromos. I like the Caran d'Ache Luminance. So, you know, I have my favorites. And I do use the Prismacolor Scholars with my Prismacolor Premiers. I also own and use the junior sets with my Premiers. This is the 913, by the way. And I also use the Verithins. The Verithins are great for fine details because they are harder core pencil, just like the juniors and the scholar sets. The junior line has different colors and they offer the metallics, and they are a harder core pencil, but they are still very opaque and very vibrant colors. And a lot of people think they're not as bright. They are. They're just a lot harder. Like the polychromos are harder. They take a little bit more finesse to blend. So you got to work a little harder at them. But again, they're better for new artists, especially people who tend to be heavy-handed, because you won't break them as often, especially young artists. They're a lot more durable, and I like them. I can blend them like crazy. But anyway, so you just want to really learn your pencils and work them. That's all you got to do is work your pencils, learn your techniques, and if you get an opportunity, check out some of your local art stores. You would be surprised how many of your art supply stores offer free classes, even on basic color theory, things like that. Just check out this summer what free art workshops are available, especially if you're new. There's a lot of stuff out there. You can go to art shows. You get a lot of free stuff at some of the big art fairs and art shows. I know I get a lot of cool stuff. So some of your art shows are the best, or your expos. You get a lot of really cool free samples at some of those expo shows. You just have to get off your butt and go to them. This is 1034. And again, I'm just laying in the 1034 where I want it. I might add a little more pink on this one because I really like how that effect came out on this one with the pink. Kind of thinking I might. Yeah, I think I'll do some over here. Some more gold over on this side. And a little right here on this. I kind of like how that worked out. But yeah, there's so many opportunities out there, especially for new colorists and artists. And again, I can't draw for beans. I've tried. I really have. People say, oh, anybody can draw. No, they can't. I'm the anybody, and I cannot draw. I've tried. I've taken art classes. I've taken sketching classes. I've taken drawing classes. Nope, I absolutely can't. I remember one of my art teachers told me, you know, you're a really good colorist. You've got that down. Some people just aren't meant to draw. And I remember laughing because I was just terrible at it. I really was. I even took an architectural class. I was great with a ruler and tools. I could draw like buildings and things like that. But anything else, nope. I had to have those tools. It was terrible. But it was fun to try. I still passed my class. I got a P for pass. I didn't get an A, B, C, D, or F. I just got a P for pass. You know you're terrible when you get a P. But it was fun. I didn't expect anything more than that. I tried. I got an A for effort, I suppose. That's all you can do, right? Okay, so I'm going to put some more of my yellow in this guy. So anyways, I have a lot of respect for people who can sit down and knock out these fabulous pictures that I see all the time. I'm like, wow, those are so cool. Like my grandma and my aunt and my cousin, they are artists. They can draw. And I look at the things that they draw and I'm like, wow. My cousin, she's like, I traced that. And I'm like, I don't care. I can't even do that. That's just amazing. My cousin drew the Scooby-Doo van. I was like, wow, that is so cool. I wanted that picture so bad. It was like my childhood memory. I just thought it was just phenomenal. It's like the whole 70s van with all the flowers and everything. It was just great. I loved it. I'll take my golden color here, put some more of that in. It's 1034 again. But yeah, so, and my grandmother and my aunt both paint. And I think they've both sold stuff at art shows. Some really nice, beautiful stuff. And I think the best I've ever done is paint by number. Even that was a hot mess. I think somebody asked me not long ago, I can't even remember who it was, if I've ever used watercolors or watercolor pencils, and I laughed. I was like, you don't want to see what I've done with watercolor pencils. It's shameful. Okay, so I'm going to take my spring green. So I think I need to put a little more down here. My spring green needs to be a little brighter, I think. Now you can see as I'm talking, I'm just kind of working my colors where I think I need to put them. It's kind of a balancing act. But yeah, I'm not a painter. I'm not a sketch artist like Sarah Renee Clark. I've seen some of the things that she's drawn and that she's colored, and I'm like, wow, I can't do half of that. It's impressive. I just color. That's all I can do. And sometimes I even shock myself at some of the stuff I put out. I'm like, wow, I did that? That's really neat. You know, we all sit down and do things, and then we're like, whoa, that's pretty neat. I did that. Okay, now I'm going to take my yellow again, and I'm going to blend those colors in really good. And again, you notice I'm not using any white. As I try to tell people, you shouldn't use your white as a blending pencil unless your image calls for that, of course. There are exceptions where you want to use your white. But when you're working a picture, your white will dull your colors out. So it shouldn't be used as your go-to blending pencil. You should always use your brightest color to blend with. It's always best. I mean, white's a great color, and there's always exceptions to when it's great to use your white for blending. And there's techniques that you need to use it for. Okay, that looks pretty good, I think. Let me add that dark green, my 1096 down here for my little bit of shading right here around this leaf, and my base lines here, my little vein lines, I guess. And I got that little bit of a stem in there. I don't want to go too dark. And then just right here a little, I think. Yeah? I think that looks pretty good. Okay, now I think I could take some of this pink and then maybe right where I put some of that gold, because I think this is where it's going to be the lightest, right? And again, I'm just using that really light touch. Just adding some of that pink in here. Using baby hands, I guess, if you want to say that. My little baby fingers, baby touch. Just giving that nice little bit of pink. Kind of make it look like it's ripening. And the yellow one more time, just to mix that color out and make it look like it's a natural effect. Because now you can really see how that blend takes on with the other colors, with the yellow and the gold. Hope I stayed in view for you there. It gave it just enough of that color. And I could feel underneath here that my paper, I'm just about burnishing this paper. So I'm about at its limit because I can feel as I'm moving my color around, it gets thicker and thicker, and it's almost like the Prismacolor is starting to slide. You can definitely feel it on your paper. Okay. So again, if you want to add those little hairs, take your gold and ever so gently just swipe those little hairs with those little tick marks. And I just found that the gold worked best. Again, hate to sound like a broken record, but it just, to me, seemed like the right color. Okay. And of course, it stands out really nicely too. Okay, you guys, I hope you like that. I want you to finish the berries at the bottom. But before we go, I want to show you this one flower down here really quick. Let me move these colors off to the side. Ugh. I did pick some colors for that little flower. After careful consideration, I picked 914, 929, 1014, black, and the black gel pen, of course. There it is. And if you, I'm gonna move this up so you can see the flower. It's this little guy right here. And there's like the half of one, but we're gonna do this one. Excuse me. You can put 1018 yellow or 1003 in your center, but I kind of chose a combination of the 1034 and the 1011 since, or the 915 since they're colors that I'm going to use. So what I did is with the little pink, the little flower, again, I got looking at the gooseberry plants. And so I took the 929 and I kind of came in here and put some little bits of the 929. I almost made like a weird little W with it. Just little bits on each petal. Just really lightly. I'm not doing heavy. I'm just doing really lightly because I'm going to smear those that around. So I'm hitting the bottom of it right at the very base, which I missed. Get around that base here. And I'm kind of making a W there. Again at the base. And I'm going to make a little W. It doesn't have to be perfect or pretty. I'm not at all trying to make it perfect. It's not looking pretty. I'm taking my 1014. This is very simple. Again, the most complicated part of this is going to be the leaf, by the way. And we'll get into that after we finish. So now what I'm doing is I'm starting from the bottom and I'm dragging up with the 1014. That darker pink with my light pink. Don't make it perfect because you're going to throw some white and some cream in there. So just start at your bottom and just kind of grab it and pull it up just like I am really quickly. Don't try to get a perfect blend. You don't need to. You're going to get it more blended with your cream color here in just a second. Just really quick strokes. I'm kind of doing half arch strokes on the way up. Okay, now grab your 914 And don't go all the way to the base, but just above where the darkest part is at your base. And give it a good blend. So small circles and blend it up. And you're going to see what happens. It's going to still keep that pink color. You're going to see that dark pink and that light pink, but you're also going to see the splashes of that cream in there. See how I did that? Going around the edges there. And I'm going to do each one like that. Getting around the top. So I'm still seeing my dark pink. I'm not totally blending it away, but I'm just giving it just enough with the cream that it almost gives it that weird pinky salmon color. Make sure to get around your edges. Okay, now with your white pencil, once you've done that, you can kind of go around your tips with your white. And it's just going to give it just enough of a little highlight right around the tips of those flower petals. I just thought it was a really good combination. Again, I just went around the edges there. Now, I came back with my dark pink, the 929, and it's got those little dark flecks in the center. And I just kind of hit those little dark flecks with that dark pink. Now, all the flowers I found were a little different. So it was very interesting to look at them online. Now, the centerpiece, I did a light bit of the 1034. Again, you can use 118 if you want to use an orange or 1013. And I went over it with 915 here, just to brighten that up. And now, if you look really closely, you'll see there's little bits of black around it, around the flower that I saw online. So I took my black pencil and I put little dots of black all the way around it. It's a little more detailed online, but this was my depiction of the flower. And I put one little dot in the center. Now, again, you can take your black gel pen if you want to do the dots with the black gel pen instead of pencil. You can certainly do that. That's what I had the black gel pen for. The choice is up to you. Now, you can do your... I got way out of view, didn't I? You can hate me later for that. I have another flower. I will pull it out in the next video and we'll do it again. Don't hate me too much. I wasn't paying attention. But there is another flower. Let me zoom out. There's this little one right here. So you can work on that one. I might have to edit this video, huh? Poop. Anyway, let me zoom out here. Maybe. Okay. Why is everything so complicated for me? Okay, so you can finish your little green berries. There's only 2 left. And then we will come back and we will do some of these leaves together. A bunch of them, hopefully, because the leaves are going to be the most complicated part of this, I think. Okay, we'll be back shortly.